What's going on, everybody? Here in Shreveport, um, we've had a terrible incident occur that's starting to make the national news. And I've talked about this over and over. If you haven't heard, there's been a mass shooting where 8 children lost their lives.
This is all preliminary information. This is a very large scene with 4 specific locations that we are currently addressing events from early this morning. This morning, officers responded to a shooting that occurred just after 6 a.m. In doing so, we've determined that this was a domestic call in nature. The responding officers located a crime scene here in the 300 block of West 79th Street, and this is a rather extensive crime scene spanning between 2 residences here. There is also another residence on Harrison Street that is part of this crime scene as well. Right now we have at least 10 individuals that were struck by gunfire last night in a domestic disturbance. 8 of these individuals are deceased. The ranges of the decedents are from 1 year of age to approximately 14 years of age. All of the deceased in this case are juveniles. The individual responsible, once leaving this scene, performed a carjacking right here in close proximity to the corner of West 79th and Linwood, at which point in time Shreveport Police Patrol officers got behind that vehicle and a chase ensued. The vehicle was chased into Bossier Parish, and at which point in time Shreveport police officers did discharge their firearm, and that individual is deceased.
I'm so sick of gun violence in this country. I'm sick of it. And here in Shreveport in particular, and specifically where that incident has occurred in Cedar Grove, I used to live not too far away from that place. And I can tell you, as a resident of Shreveport, that there is a strong, pervasive amount of street culture that dominates our city. It dominates all of Louisiana. I'm sure many of you know that. Street culture. Young people here don't really have an opportunity. They don't really have a chance, because it's not just the education, but it's the society. The society we don't help our young people. There's an overemphasis on church and prayer and praying, and people try to pray everything away. And not to say that, that isn't important, but it comes a point where, it's obviously not the solution at that moment. That action has to be taken. And I mean that in a way, no disrespect to, spirituality and prayer, but it comes a point where we have to take action. Here in Shreveport, we got a church on every corner, but yet we see this situation happen all the time. And today, it cost 8 children their lives. And I don't know the details. I haven't seen images of the suspect. So I'm just waiting to find out about that. But I'm just so sick. I'm so sick of all the gun violence. Just recently, I was driving back home, driving through Shreveport, and I saw a young man who had military-style rifles. He was putting them in his car. Young man. He wasn't in the military, but he was certainly armed for war. Here in Shreveport, it's a society where we don't value our young people enough to raise them up in a way to where they can handle conflict without taking others' lives, and we don't push back enough on street culture. There's this desire to want to glorify it, and when we do that, we co-sign it for young people to want to embrace it as well. And then we see these kind of situations. You know, Shreveport seems to always end up in the news for some sort of violence. I want this issue with the guns to somehow, we've got to resolve it. I'm not sure what the solution is. I mean, I've got some ideas, but we have to do something about it. And here in Shreveport, you know, we need better leadership. We need leadership that's actually going to tackle the situation, the root cause of the situation. Putting more police out there in the streets, that isn't going to solve it. You could have an armed police officer everywhere. It's not going to solve this. We have to address the root cause, the root problems. And the problems are that people don't have enough opportunity. Street culture is a problem. We don't pay people enough money to survive here. So we have this very poor society where people just feel like they don't have a chance, you know, especially young black people. You add that with the oppression that you face here, that people tell you doesn't exist. But I could tell you, as a black man who's lived here for decades, that it's real and that it does exist. When you add all that together, you get this.